We look at the ocean and see a mirror. It reflects the sky, the sun, and our own faces. But that surface is a mask. It's a shimmering barrier between our world of breath and the world of eternal silence. To understand the truth of our existence, we have to look past our own reflection. We must ascend. For centuries, humanity has gazed up at the stars, convinced that the answers to our origins lie in the expanding cosmos. But what if the most profound questions of life, time, and consciousness aren't hidden in the vacuum of space, but in the crushing, fluid embrace of the deep ocean? Down here, in the darkness, silence isn't an absence of sound. It's a heavy, living presence. This is a journey into the abyss, a world where time dissolves, where pressure sculpts life into alien forms, and where the forgotten remnants of human ambition rust for eternity. As we descend past the sunlit surface, the familiar blue fades into a bruising indigo. We're entering the twilight zone. And here, the ocean asks its first philosophical question. What is time without the sun? On land, our lives are dictated by that celestial rhythm: sunrise, sunset, the constant ticking of days and years. But on Era, at 600 meters, the sun is just a ghost, a distant memory. Consider the vampire squid. It drifts here, suspended in the perpetual gloom. It doesn't hunt with the frantic energy of a surface predator. It simply waits. In this realm, energy is the only currency that matters. To move is to spend. To wait is to save. This creature teaches us the philosophy of stillness. In our world, we equate stillness with stagnation. We're obsessed with progress, with speed. We run from silence. But the deep ocean suggests that stillness isn't empty. It's a state of supreme readiness. The creatures here exist in a perpetual now. They don't mourn the lost sunlight of yesterday, nor do they fear the total darkness of tomorrow. They simply are. The twilight zone strips away the illusion that we are masters of our environment. Here, we are fragile intruders, descending into a history that predates our entire species by eons. We go deeper, 1,000 meters. Welcome to the midnight zone. The sunlight is gone. The water is pitch black, colder than the grave. And yet, looking at the viewport, you see stars. Not celestial bodies, but biological ones. Bioluminescence, drifting in the dark, is the angle. To our eyes, it's a creature of nightmare's needle teeth. A misshapen body. A milky, blind gaze. But look closer. Hanging before its jaw is a glowing lure, a bioluminescent bulb filled with symbiotic bacteria. The anglerfish presents the paradox of truth and deception. In absolute darkness, light is the ultimate symbol of hope. Smaller fish see that glow and swim toward it, believing it to be food, safety, or a mate. Instead, it is their end. This raises a chilling question for us. How often do we chase a light, thinking it's our salvation, when it's actually a trap? The deep ocean teaches us that not all light is holy. Sometimes, darkness is the safer cloak. The creatures that survive here have learned to distrust the obvious, to sense the currents rather than trust their eyes. But the anglerfish is also a symbol of symbiosis. It can't create the light alone. It provides a home for the bacteria, and the bacteria provide the lure. Even in the loneliest, darkest place on Earth, nothing survives truly alone. Connection is the prerequisite for existence. Let's plunge deeper, down to the abyssal plane. 4,000 meters. The pressure here is like having an elephant stand on your thumb. It is a crushing, merciless force. And here, looming out of the silt, is a shadow. You see rigid lines, right angles, the unnatural geometry of humankind. It's a shipwreck, maybe a galleon from the age of exploration, or a steel freighter from a world war. Imagine the Titanic, or a nameless merchant vessel. The shipwreck is the ocean's greatest lecture on hubris. An impermanence. When this ship was built, it was a marvel of engineering. It was loud, with human voices, commands, laughter, and the arrogance of steel conquering water. Now, it is silent. The ocean hasn't fought the ship. It has absorbed it. Rusticles hang light icicles from the railings, created by iron-knitting bacteria. The grand staircase is now a thoroughfare for crabs. The captain's wheel is encrusted with barnacles. The ocean doesn't fight our creations. It simply waits. It has the ultimate weapon: deep time. A sperm whale dives past. These leviathans are the bridge between the air and the abyss. A whale's song can travel across entire oceans. While we humans shout at each other over the internet, struggling to be understood, whales are connected by a global web of song that has existed for millions of years. Scientists speculate that whales may share a collective memory. When a whale clicks, it creates a sonic picture of its surroundings. When it shares that sound, it's sharing a direct experience, a holographic memory. They don't just tell stories, they transfer the physical reality of the ocean to one another. This highlights the limits of our own language. We use words to approximate feelings. A whale uses sound to transfer the feeling itself. In the deep, we realize how isolated the human mind really is. Trapped in a skull, relying on clumsy words to bridge the gap between souls. What would our civilization look like if we could truly feel each other's reality? We finally reach the bottom. The Hadal Zone. The trenches. Here, the tectonic plates of the earth grind together. It should be a wasteland. Instead, we find chimneys of black rock spewing superheated, mineral-rich water, hydrothermal vents. Surrounding these vents are tube worms, giant clams, and ghostly white crabs. They don't rely on the sun. They rely on chemosynthesis, converting toxic chemicals from the Earth's interior into energy. This is the most profound revelation of the deep. Life is not defined by comfort. It's defined by resilience. For decades, we believed life required sunlight. We thought the habitable zone was narrow. The ocean proved us wrong. These creatures thrive in boiling, toxic water under crushing pressure. They challenge our very definition of alien. If life can exist here, in these hellish conditions, then life is not a fragile accident. It is a stubborn, unstoppable force. These vents teach us about our own origins. Many scientists believe life on Earth began not in a warm, sunny tide pool, but right here, in the violent, chemical pressure cooker of the deep. When we look at a tube worm, we are looking at our strangest, most distant cousin. As we ascend, the pressure lifts. The black turns to indigo, then to blue, and finally, the blinding white of the surface breaks. We return to the world of air, noise, and sunlight, but we are changed. The ocean tells us we are small, but it also tells us we are connected. It teaches us that time is relative, that light can be a trap, that decay is just transformation, and that life can flourish in the most hostile conditions imaginable. The whispers from the deep aren't just stories about fish and water. They are philosophical mirrors. The abyss is the subconscious of our planet. It holds the memories we've forgotten and the truths we're too afraid to face. To look into the deep is to look into the void and find that the void is not empty. It is full of life, watching, waiting, and whispering the oldest story on Earth. You are dust, you are water, and to the water you shall return. Thanks for joining us on this journey. If you enjoyed this dive into the deep, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss our next exploration.